There's a time in every game dev's life, and it was that time for me. The game that brought this channel to what it's at today. My first extensive Godot project, Sinister Twilight. Now, why did I give up on the project? I was extremely new to Godot, and I was having a lot of fun making it, but after I got to some point, I didn't know what to do. Normally when someone starts off, they try to make a smaller side projects, a lot of them, and experiment for a while and then try to make a larger project with their newfound knowledge. And that's where I messed up. I tried to make a huge Metroidvania as my first project, and it wasn't successful. I realized this after making a challenge video back in the day, that there's so much more to learn and it would be better this way.
It is better this way.
Did you notice that I haven't uploaded a devlog for this game in a really long time? And this is why. I revisited the game recently and it was a mess. Disgusting code and unorganized project structure. The pixel art was alright, but I could have done a lot better now that I have improved a lot. So I just have to give up. Knowing when to quit is something you have to learn when being a game developer. Giving up too early isn't great either. I asked some of my fellow game dev friends about their experience with giving up on games. Fenifu says, "For me, I wasn't confident anymore in the idea of the game. I could still make the game since I could get music and assets, but the core concept of the storyline, which was the focus of the game, is something I no longer agree with and doesn't align with my values. So I don't feel like I could finish the game with confidence in the storyline." Scriptline says, "When I started game dev, I tried to make a multiplayer FPS game. I'm also in the process of deciding what to do with my farming RPG thing, Magnite. There was a survival game thing I dropped because the code was too dreadful to look at. A story-based game about an alien I dropped because the idea was way too massive. And a ton of other tiny projects that I never got past the prototyping stage. I code from Triangle Dev, so here's my story. I was working on this game called Sword of Fire, which was making pretty cringy devlogs on, and I guess it was sort of the thing that made my videos actually be found on YouTube. So I worked on the game for 3 months, pushing out devlogs whenever I could, and I was at 40 subs at the time. I was making friends from the game dev community, which was fun. But then, something horrible struck. I went to open the game project like every day, and the game engine told me that the project files were broken, so it was 3 months of development gone down the garbage. I told my small community, but was determined to remake the game, but slowly lost motivation on the game and threw it to my recycling bin. I learned a valuable lesson that day. Don't make huge scale projects at first, and to use GitHub or source control, so if anything bad happens to the game, I can go back to the last version I committed to GitHub." Captain Moo says, "Burnt out usually, but sometimes it was too hard. Like I said, my goals too high, and I didn't handle it well." Fellow Jabba the Bean says, "So basically I usually give up on projects because I get demotivated or the scope is too far too big. But late last year, I was making a game that was so close to being complete. I hadn't really planned the game well, so it was very difficult to manage and there were too many bugs. Eventually, I just gave up. Special thanks to everyone who took the time to share their experiences." So, yeah, I thought of bringing back this game from the dead. A fresh new start and scrapping my previous work. The idea of a spirit warrior fighting to bring back light to the world just stuck to my head. If you have a game that you feel like was a mess, try revisiting it. I've been having way too much fun working on bringing back the game with a fresh start. I hope you learned something out of this video, especially if you're just starting off. You might want to make sure to join our Discord because this happened and I'm still shaking and I don't know what to say. See ya.
They think I'm crazy or something. Hop into the bit like the baby or